buying stuff sometimes fills a void. Many times we buy things out of emotion for the instant gratification, for the uplifting feeling when we buy it. And sometimes not even that big reason. Sometimes it's just because we're bored and we think something else can fill the void. Minimalism is filling the void with self care. Self care is centering your resources on a healthy you. A big part of your health is your mental well being. What causes stress on your mind? Thinking and worrying about things. Good to see you, Savat. Shout out to all my truck drivers. Stress on the mind is what hurts our mental health or what compounds what may be even deeper problems. Mental health, just like physical health, has different layers. Some people may have a strained muscle, some people may have a missing limb. That's a physical example of health. Some people may have moments of anxiety, some people may have deep psychological issues. But we all have mental health. And sometimes money is like an enhancer. Okay. It's like a filter on a photo. It doesn't change who you are. It can only enhance who you are. So a lot of times people think that if they get their bonus, if they get their stimulus check, that one thing will fill the void. And it will not fill the void. It can enhance your life. So I'm not one of these people that preach don't go out there and maximize your potential, make money, etc. I'm just trying to say start from a foundational level in your life. And always have that as your compass. People perish for a lack of direction. Okay. And when you're lost and you don't know what to decide, you focus on self-care. When you're bored and you don't know what to decide, you will buy something to fill the void. The Dollar Tree is filled with many useless items that fill a void in the psyche. Some are useful. Look, there's some things in the Dollar Tree, there's some things in Walmart, there's some things in the world that they have a use, and sometimes there's value in just buying something that's entertaining. But minimalism is focusing more of your energy, time, and money on things that either have a practical or productive use in your life, with a small percentage carved out for just pure entertainment and relaxation, luxury, whatever. But a regular life, especially in America and most developed nations, there's an out of balance which causes bad mental health. America has it's tough to say that with absolute fact, so I don't like to do that, but there's a lot of statistics that show that Americans' mental health is going down, and America is supposedly the wealthiest, if not, is one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest country in the world. So why? Well, part of it is because we have the opportunity to make our life great. America is a really unique thing in one sense. There's always room for reform, but you live in great conditions. I was watching a video today of people who live in the Philippines. I had some Filipino friends growing up, great culture, great people, just like every culture. I'm not going to say, look, every culture has good and bad people, okay? Every culture, including Italians. I'm an Italian person. But I was looking at some videos in the Philippines, a lot of poverty in that country, but a lot of minimalism. So minimalism and poverty won't necessarily improve your mental health. And minimalism and poverty are not the same thing. Minimalism is minimalism is like reading the back of the food label. Like it took many decades for Americans to lobby against the food corporations. McDonald's, the cattle industry, the farming industry, these are all industries that have lobbyists, paid executives that lobby the government for subsidies. We subsidize farmers. We subsidize a lot of the corporate food in America, even the food that's fed in the school systems. And we had to fight to get the food ingredients labels with how much, not just how many calories, what's the sugar percentage, what's the saturated fat percentage, the sodium percentage. And you got to see where you spend your calories. That was a huge blessing. Why? Because once you're aware that a balanced diet is like a balanced life. For many years, me being overweight and obese, I didn't really pay attention to the food label. And coming up in the early 90s and in the 90s, food labels were just coming out. Certainly when you went to McDonald's, there was not a display of what the food calorie intake was on a Big Mac. That only came in the 2000s. And when it came, it helped me a lot to be mindful. How does that apply to minimalism? What is the square footage of your house? Whether it's the apartment you rent or the house you buy. 250 square foot is the maximum amount of square footage one person would need. That is one of the most important revelations that I got on my journey to minimalism. I saw someone today who bought a house. They're a nomad on YouTube. I may do a video about it, but I always hesitate on making a video about someone else because I like to stay focused on my own life and center my energy around myself and what I'm thinking and where I need to go forward. But I watched this video. It's a nomad who just bought a home base. He bought a house, 1,000 square foot house. He's not married. He doesn't have any kids. He has one pet. For 15 years, I had 1,000 square foot condo. I used about 200 square foot of it. 3/4, the vast majority of my house was waste. It took extra energy to clean a house I wasn't used. I shouldn't have been cleaning 1,000 square foot. I should have only been cleaning 250 square feet. Because that's all one person needs. I shouldn't be paying for electricity, water, etc. for 1,000 square feet, only 250 square feet. Same thing with property taxes, you go down the line. Now you say, Sam, that's all about money. What if I'm living below my means and I want more? Well, as always, do what you want, but there's the money and there's the mental health. No amount of money can alleviate the mental stress of owning more than you need. You can hire a housekeeper. You can hire a landscaper. I hired someone to come and clean my vent on my dryer. But every time you hire someone, you have to oversee them. You are a project manager. That's stress. Even if someone else is your property manager, they have to come to you, the CEO of the land, and say, look, this is what the plumber wants to do. Do you agree to these terms? Maybe you have a passion for real estate. Maybe you have a passion for collectibles. Follow your passions and take everything I say with a grain of salt. Put your own twist on life. But what I found in my journey, especially as you get older, because what I'm realizing now in middle age, as you get older, your mental capacity for more aggravation is less. Like when you're young, you want to build, conquer, and collect. And by the time you wake up midlife, you realize that you are a prisoner to a bunch of stuff that you acquired under false premises to fill a void, to impress other people, or to bring you this euphoria feeling that doesn't exist. Self-care is the ultimate euphoria, managing your time, deploying your resources, energy, and money into only that which you need, and then harnessing the overflow of resources into something you're really passionate about. So again, if you're passionate about real estate, then pour your resources into there, but just know your mind. How much can you handle? How much do you want to oversee? Do you have high anxiety? Do you have high stress? How much stuff do you have? Do you have a storage unit? Do you have a shed? There was one time on my journey that I was thinking about buying. As soon as I had equity in a property, I wanted to take out a home loan and buy another property and just keep going. You know, before the housing bust in America in 2007, I had a vision a little bit of owning several properties. I thought that would be great. I'm thankful I didn't do that. And I realized that it's a trap. Because assets on paper can lead to a pain in the ass. The biggest level of peace is not having to worry about a lot of things. And what I realized is you can actually make more money owning less than trying to own more to make more money. See, a lot of people who sell you like how to be a real estate developer, how to buy property with all cash, how to flip this, how to do that. A lot of people that sell you an infomercial of being a millionaire, a lot of their gimmick is, one is like buy this program, but a lot of their gimmick is you buy these assets and you make money off of. Most people will never make money off. Most businesses fail. Most people would do better to own less assets, have a savings account with 12 months worth of expenses, not taking too much risk, and thinking about if you are going to take risk, what do you really enjoy? And what is your level of mental health that if you risk too much will be negatively affected? Stress, anxiety, and fear are all tied in on many levels to the worrying of losing what you have, maintaining what you have, or trying to acquire more. You can alleviate a lot of stress, anxiety, and fear by simply not having a lot of stuff. However, here's the key: discipline. Minimalism is not just, if minimalism seems easy, you don't have to spend money. Minimalism is the opposite of spending money. You save money, but saving money is a discipline. Not eating more than 2,000 calories a day is a discipline. Minimalism is the discipline of withholding or not buying something that you don't need. Many times people go in the store and just like kind of daydream shop to fill a void. What should fill a void? Self-care. When in doubt, go for a walk. And for me, it's so important to be in good weather because good weather, well, bad weather equals bad mental health. I really do feel that way more than ever at this point in my life. As I said, let me take my sweater off. Today in New Jersey, in the middle of May, it was below 50 degrees, cold and windy. Thank God tomorrow we're back in the 60s and it looks like we made it to spring. Some of my friends in Canada, they had snow today. What does that have to do with mental health? Well, for me, when I'm bored or anxious, being outside and engaging in the level of physical activity, even if it's a casual walk, fills a void. And rather than go shopping for stuff or walking around Walmart or doing something or going to eat extra, being outside and sweating and enjoying nature is self-care. To have the discipline not to buy is to have a focus on self-care. Tennis on Lock, $2 super chat. Hey Sam, hope all is good. Tennis on Lock, love to you, brother. Thank you, Tennis. I appreciate that. Hope you're doing good also. Hopefully the weather is warm where you're at. Where you at, Tennis? so you can unlock being outside. But it really is a discipline, you know? And it's hard, you know, it won't make us happy a lot of times to have the extra meal, to have another 2 chicken wings. It won't really make us happy to buy another 500 square feet. You know, it was very hard for me to discipline myself and be very strategic in how I'm looking at a home base and how I'm looking at an RV. Because I see a level of value in adding a little bit more because I'm a very extreme minimalist. I'm probably the biggest minimalist you'll meet because I live in my car, sold all my belongings. Everything I have is in one bag. So I'm at a very extreme level. So I am looking to dial the notch a little bit into a little bit more comfort. But I'm doing it very strategically and intentional because it's easy. It's easy to add. It's hard to subtract. Minimalism is subtracting. If you don't believe it's hard to subtract, why does America have $1 billion storage unit industry? Storage units are you pay someone else to hold stuff you don't use. Why do they build houses over 1,000 square feet? You know, most people have anywhere between 2 to 4 people in their house, on average, in America. A 4-person household, a wife, a husband, and 2 children, do not technically need more than 1,000 square feet. But they buy it, and then they are on the hook for the rest of their life to that thing. I saw some couple today on the news that lives in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is one of the poorest states in America. They depend very much on the gas industry, the oil and gas industry. The oil and gas industry is subsidized by the federal government. The oil industry is basically on welfare and everyone who works for them, etc. But Oklahoma is one of the poorest states in America, so I saw this couple being interviewed that they got laid off because of the coronavirus. A guy who worked for the oil industry and the wife had some type of small business, and they're struggling right now. They got like 4 kids. In some of the rural southern states, they tend to have more kids, tend to be higher poverty and lower educated. Because that's the culture you just grow up in. On average, not all the time. Shout out to San Diego, Adrian. Love to you, man. Love to you, Josh. I'm going to read all these live comments, guys. Thank you. Savat, great to see you again. Free to be me. And guys, remember, every Sunday I'm going to be doing a members-only chat. So if you're not a member and you'd like to be part of those, click that blue join button. You'll have access, unlimited access to all my live streams. You'll get a badge next to your name. You get custom emojis. And I'm going to do more than just Sundays eventually. But good to see everyone. Yeah, I was thinking about San Diego today. I actually checked the weather. It's going to be in the 70s for the next 10 days in San Diego and sunny. It never rains. It never rains in Southern California. Tony had a song about that. It never rains in Southern California. You know, other than Florida, I would look at California as my next option. I have to be where it's sunny. It's really been painful for me these last couple of weeks to be in New Jersey. I'm thankful that I'm here with my elderly mother during this crisis. I'm glad I got her a smartphone. Anyone out there, if you have an elderly parent that you care about and they don't have a smartphone, try to get them a smartphone. Because if you're not with them and God forbid someone gets admitted to the hospital and you can't visit, it's good to be able to at least FaceTime. To be able to call them on the phone through a WhatsApp or some other app like that and be able to visually see them. My mom, she's having all the fun now with texting. She's able to use emojis. Of course, she asked me yesterday, Sam, help me download the Burger King app. I said, Ma, why you need the Burger King app? She goes, well, I want to get some coupons. I downloaded it for her. Burger King app is interesting. You download the Burger King app and you click what meal you want a coupon, and they give you a coupon, but you got to spend it within 15 minutes or it expires. Pretty cool. They give you a number. Let me clean my screen a little bit here. But if you ask me, Do I regret selling my house? I get that question a lot because it's a big decision to sell your house and to sell all your stuff. I don't have a storage unit. Never did. Never wanted to. Do I regret selling my house? Not at all. Why? Number one is because I don't want to live in New Jersey. I don't mind visiting it, but I kind of do mind visiting it, but I don't want to live here. Travel around till you find where you want to live. The nomad that I saw today that bought a home base, he bought it in a Midwest state. Now, maybe it inspires him, but to me, totally uninspiring place. It was probably a cheap property. But to me, it's got to be more than just below your means financially. That's one part. It's got to inspire you. You know, I looked at that because in Florida, I was looking at some land by Okeechobee, Florida. There's some unrestricted land there. It's kind of South Florida that you could put an RV on. But it's, 45 to an hour plus away from the coast, if not more, depending on what part. And the culture is very country. Nice setting, nice people, but not inspiring for me. And I know you only get so many chances to purchase a home. And I would be okay if I would never own a home until I die. I really would. I don't look at renting the same way I did when I was younger. Of course, in society, we're always told that owning is better. Owning has some value, but you have to remember the recurring cost of owning. Like the nomad that bought the property today, this guy on YouTube I saw, he looked miserable. I'm going to be honest with you. He looked miserable. He was saying that not only did he buy the property, he signed up for the water bill, he signed up for the electrical bill, signed up for the trash delivery, and he's not even going to stay at the house that much. He got married to something he's not even going to be with. Don't buy a property unless you plan to be 80% of the time occupied. My opinion. Only my opinion. Everyone should spend their money however they want. Juliana, great to see you. Shout out to Australia. Brent, great to see you. Brent, I saw I have a girl I know. Well, in my mind, I know her. I talk to her on Instagram once in a while. I have a girl I know, comedian from Canada. Her videos went viral a couple weeks ago. But she was saying, she did an Instagram post today. It was snowing in Canada. Yeah, Brent, I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow. Almost did it today, but I said I'll wait till tomorrow. But what I could tell you is, get out of Canada, man. Brent is from Palm Beach Gardens. Beautiful area in Florida. A little congested. I like Juno Beach a little bit better. Palm Beach Gardens. Yeah, I like Juno Beach. It's all in Palm Beach County. That's where Mar-a-Lago is, etc. Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Dade County are the three low southeast counties in Florida. And they're still under lockdown because they had the most coronavirus outbreaks. But, when I look at new houses, even like in that area, like that Jupiter, not so much Palm Beach, but the Jupiter, Juno, they used to have small houses. But all new houses now are built over 1,000 square feet. Brent, how many kids do you have? I know you're married. How many kids do you have? Oh, I love Carlin Park, man. That's one of my favorite parks. One boy. So Brent's married. He's got a 3-person household. So 9 years old. Thank you, Brent. So a 3-person household should not have more than 750 square feet. Why? Because every one person doesn't need more than 250 square feet. What happens when you own more stuff? You have more stress. Look, even if you're Elon Musk, and Brent loves Elon Musk, even if you're Elon Musk, he's a billionaire, he's selling some of his properties, and on his latest interview, he said, one of the reasons I'm selling, I want less stress so I could focus more of my energy to my businesses or to whatever makes me happy. So Brent says he has a 3-person household. He goes, we live with about 1,000 square foot renting here in Toronto. Well, 1,000 square foot's not too much of an overreach, so that's good. And renting is good because you're not married. I used to look at renting like a waste of money, and it could be if it's over a long period of time and you're raising a family there, but you still have flexibility. Like I looked at that nomad today who bought that property. I said, he should be renting, not buying, but that's my opinion. New Jersey UFO says, yeah, you saw that interview with Elon Musk. He always gives a good interview. He's an interesting person. I don't agree with him on all things, but I'm sure a lot of people don't agree with me on all things, so it's fair. Debate is good. Different conversation is good. However, I protect my inner circle. Sam, why do you protect your inner circle? Because my well-being means something to me, my mental health. And for me, what I found is mental health, a big part of it is less stress, less things, sunnier weather, and less combative, less contentious people, less sarcastic people. Well, we're getting ready to go all live comments, guys. And this is a public chat. Again, every Sunday I'm going to be doing a members only chat. If you're not a member and you'd like to join, hit that join button. But my main focus today was, even though I was a little bit upset because the weather was cloudy and cold, I was thinking about two things. I was thinking about, Sam, I know you're mentally not in a good place because this weather messes with my mind. I said, but Sam, remember that you could, if I wanted to, I could start my car right now and change my environment, change my life. I have very little thing, and that also includes with pets. I had a dog once. I love dogs, and that dog really helped me. But I try to do the responsible thing now going forward. I would never own a pet because I just don't want to take care of anything. When I say minimalism, it's not just buying stuff at Walmart or the Dollar Tree or or buying a Tesla. It's also about how much maintenance does it require. A dog is the big commitment, not just financially, but with your energy, with your time. Some people, a dog really helps psychologically, and I've seen that. But especially if you're older, you need self-care. Never stops. Even more when you're elderly, you need more energy to just wash yourself. Washing yourself and hygiene when you're old is hard. I saw that couple in Oklahoma that was going through a tough financial time with the coronavirus. They'd started building a house, their dream house. Anytime you hear the word dream house, throw up a red flag. Savad joined the channel membership. Well, brother, shout out to all my truck drivers. I will see you every Sunday on this channel and more to come. Thank you, brother. I look forward to sharing with you, man. You'll get a little green symbol next to your name. From now on, that'll change colors as we go. You can throw up one of your custom emojis, brother. Love to you. Thank you, Savad. Keep delivering that food supply, man. A lot of big chicks need that DiGiorno pizza. Love to you, Savad. Thank you, man. Welcome. But I was watching this news interview. It was only like a 5-minute video on YouTube about this couple. Savad just joined. Thank you, brother. I was watching this couple. They had built a house in their dream house, quote unquote. And they started building, but now that they were laid off, they didn't have enough money to finish the build. And of course, I thought of the scripture, the biblical scripture where Jesus taught people. He said, look, don't start to build anything before you count the final cost. Good to see you, Kerry. Love to you. What does that mean? Well, obviously it means financially. Don't start to build anything financially until you count the full cost. But also mentally, don't start to date. Don't buy another puppy at Christmas. Don't take on too much mentally if you know your mental health cannot handle too much stress. You have to know yourself. Knowing yourself is the key to all decisions. When I was dating, I remember a girl telling me, said, Sam, you need a lot of alone time. I could tell you haven't had enough. Count the cost of everything that you own and how much it's going to own you. Everything you own, it owns a piece of you. It owns a piece of your wallet. A house could be a huge money pit. A house can not just be a money pit, but a mental pit. You've heard that a house could be a money pit, but I'm here to tell you it could be a mental pit. Along with 5 colors of the same shirt. Along with another dog, because the first dog gets anxiety when it's alone. along with getting into another relationship right after you got out of one. Minimalism is the eliminating of a distraction. And with the void in your time, instead of distracting yourself with food, things, or purchases, you don't distract yourself. You focus yourself on self-care. You focus your resources on things that you're passionate about. You limit your risk, you add some stability, and you add peace. Not worrying about a layoff per se. Not worrying about if you get a coffee stain on your shirt. Because look, when you only own a couple shirts, is it a big deal to go to Walmart and get another hoodie? Not for me. Does that matter? It matters to me. And I hope it helped you a little bit. All right, guys, we're going to go on all live comments, man. Appreciate everyone in here. Sabat, welcome, brother, to the membership. Thank you, Tennis Online. Let's take a hydration break. Shout out to everyone across the world. Again, we got Australia in here, Canada, everyone, U.S. All right, let's go to the top of live things. Sabat, man, what's up, brother? Hey, Sam, I had that stupid virus. You had the coronavirus, Sabat? Damn, man, a lot of people getting it. The infection rate is very high. The mortality rate, meaning the death rate, is low. But that thing spreads so fast, man. And the Vice President of America, his secretary got it. Ivanka Trump, her assistant, got it. They say that 80% of the population in America will get the virus. So he said, well, it doesn't matter because I'm not elderly. Yeah, but it could affect your parents. It's a tough balance. I mean, I do think we should reopen the country a little bit. But I heard Elon Musk bitching and moaning that he's going to move his factory from San Francisco to Texas because he's mad at California for not opening up quick enough. And I'm sure that's all part of the stress of him, why he's selling some of his houses. I understand there's a lot of bureaucracy in California. But he also has 6 kids. He's been married twice. He's got 3 businesses. Been bailed out by the government and a couple times, but it is a lot of stress. It is. And I can understand where he's coming from. Some things he's making a valid point. His mental health is suffering. Elon Musk admitted that when he was younger, he thought he may have to check himself into an insane asylum. He has an active mind. So, yeah, Savat, Savat, let me ask you this. You had the coronavirus. How did you find out? Did you get sick and did you get tested? And then when you got tested, what did you do? How long did you quarantine and do you feel better now? So this is very interesting, guys. We're getting firsthand knowledge right now from our viewer, Savat, our new member. He's going to tell us his experience in getting the coronavirus. He's a truck driver in America, so he's traveling around touching a lot of things. Savat says he lost his sense of smell. I did hear that as a signal for for one of the symptoms. Lost your sense of smell. Also seen like swollen feet now can make a difference. So Savat, after you lost your sense of smell, would you get tested and were you really sick? And are you better now? Did you get tested again and are you negative now? Let's continue to read. Josh, hey, no, man. What's up, Josh? Great to see you. You're a good person. I support you, brother. Never forget that. I'm trying to read here on the bottom just to make sure that's all positive stuff here. But what I could tell you, Josh, great to see you, man. I love you. I support you. You're a good viewer, and you're a great guy, man. I'm with you. Free to be me, Sam. The truth. Thank you, brother. Great to see you, man. And it's true. Look, it's been a discipline to stay away from buying unnecessary things. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to be gentle. New Jersey info chemtrails. I'm going to put you in a timeout. I'm not going to block you. But I know Josh. Josh has been coming on my channel for months, and he's never said anything negative. So I don't know what you guys are fighting about, but I'm going to just try to create a healthy environment. But I didn't block you because I don't want to be rude to you. Give you opportunity to come back in with a more positive attitude. Savat says this is back to his experience with the coronavirus. He goes, he lost his sense of smell, then he got sick for 2 days and body aches. And then he goes, no test. Oh, you didn't get a test. So how do you know if you got the virus? Let's continue to read live comments. Savat, my friends bought new houses, 3,500 square foot. Some rooms they will never use. There's no doubt about it. Look, I had a 1,000 square foot house. I didn't use. Look, all you really use is your shower, your bed, and your kitchenette. And everything else is waste. You know, again, obviously each person has to look at their own life, but a big part of it's just waste. And Savat says, doing good now, still not back to 100%. Okay. Josh, true nomad. I had a dream of acquiring multiple properties, me and you are on the same page, but reevaluated. Instead of relying on the market and waiting for people to buy, I'm just going to save and experiment with starting small. Dream big, start small. You don't wait for the perfect deal. Just don't wait for a deal. Just live your life, and when in doubt, don't commit. When in doubt, don't commit. There's always going to be a house for sale. And house prices have not really dropped dramatically with the coronavirus. And don't forget, it's only been 6 weeks, so we're still very early on in it. And I think before you buy a property, you're going to have to travel a little bit. You're going to have to stabilize with your budget. Like if you're just downsizing, just became a nomad, and like if you're doing day trading or if you're starting a business, now is not the time to buy something with a long-term commitment, because you're going to have to level out in your travels, meaning learn what areas you like to live around the most, learn what your budget's going to be, $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, etc. And then learn how to live the lifestyle you want to live in the environment you want to live. And then create that home base or that dwelling in a very small footprint and build around it. Because the 3 biggest expenses in your life are as follows. Number 1 is having a kid. Number 2 is having a house. And number 3 is your vehicle. Having a child, having a house, and your vehicle are your 3 biggest expenses throughout your life. So when you do all those things, you have to be really mindful and give it some thought. When we're young, we're builders, we're conquerors, we're horny. And so we get ourselves a lot of times in this place that causes us to collapse and have a midlife crisis. A midlife crisis is a mental meltdown from the pressures that you've acquired and the hole that you've built yourself in the middle of your life. And so whether you're Elon Musk or whether you're this couple from Oklahoma who built a house and now they can't finish the house, whoever you are in life, a level of peace comes from low levels of stress. Stress comes from worrying about too many things. And you're going to worry about your child. You're going to worry about your house. You're going to worry about your car. And then you could just add on to that list. You're going to worry about your clothes. You're going to worry about your dog. When I got sick in the hospital, I worried about who was going to take care of my dog. Worrying is such a powerful thing. There's a whole book in the Bible about not to worry. Worrying destroys your mental health. How do we add worries to our life? Unnecessary things. So learning to dial back the human reaction to acquire, to fill a void, is part of the discipline that after we don't have a second course of chicken, we may feel that initial pain, but then we feel better and we can sleep at night because we don't have acid reflux. Like when you overeat, you have to take, antacids, Pepto-Bismol. You have to take things to soothe the overconsumption. When you buy too big a house, when you buy too many things, too fancy a car, sometimes to soothe that, you just go from one destructive thing to another because you're trying to calm the mind. What would your mind do if you had less to worry about? Well, that's an interesting question. But that question leads to self-discovery. What would you do if you had less to worry about? Could you handle having less to worry about? That's at the core of your self-discovery journey. If you had more time, if you had more money, if you had more energy, what would you do with it? And I think many people don't know what they would do with it, and that's why they stuff themselves with consumption of things and food, etc., because it's just an overwhelming thought, so think about that. All right, let's continue to read, guys. A little bit off track. Tennis Unlocked. Thank you again, brother. Love to you, man. Adrian, Hello from San Diego. Love sunny San Diego. I'm new to minimalism. Started by throwing out 95% of crap I used to own. Yes, good job, man. It said, Adrian and everyone, that 80%, the vast majority of what people own, it's useless. They don't use on a regular basis. It's not practical. It's not even a luxury. It's just waste. You know, buying in bulk, whether it's buying at BJ's or anywhere, buying in bulk leads to waste. Most of the furniture in people's house is waste. You know, do you really use the sectional couch, or do you really just use one section? You know, I had a sectional couch, and a sectional couch is a very interesting thing. It's this couch, it's a couch that's put together in about 3 or 4 sections, and it hugs the living room. And that sectional couch, probably you only use one section. You probably sit your big ass in the same section of that couch. That's what I did. You know, I had company over in the beginning, so I can't say that's all I did with it, but it's an interesting thought, okay? You know, like the person I saw bought a house today, that was the first thing they said, well, I bought this house, now I have to fill it with furniture. You know, a house is a big pet, man. You got to take care of it a lot. I became almost upset, and I almost regurgitated in thinking about all the stresses this person put onto their life. And it almost like affected my mental health, and it made me thankful that I've disciplined myself and been very strategic on what I'm adding to my life. Because it's like when you sell your house, it's a relief. When you buy your house, there's pressure. Now, there's some exceptions. If you're very intentional, very focused, and you're very dialed into the square footage, the area, the risk reward, the liability, etc., then maybe buying is worth it, but it's a very intentional thing. And it didn't look like this guy put much attention into his decision. But I didn't either when I first bought. So I made the same mistake. But give us some thought, Kerry. I've started going to my storage unit, and I want as little as possible from my storage unit. I agree. Keep going forward, Kerry, because your mind is telling you, I don't want to deal with this burden. A thin line between a burden and a blessing. A burden is something extra that you have to deal with in addition to yourself. A burden takes away from self-care. Okay. Self-care, done properly, allows you to take on things in a manner where they're not a burden. When you're spending enough time on self-care, you have extra capacity to then do things without being resentful. Resentment comes from not enough self-care. Resentment comes from you feel like you have too many burdens in your life and not enough blessings. The ultimate blessing is pouring time into yourself and being in a happy, whole place that then you can share yourself, your things, your resources, based on a healthy place, a peaceful place in your mind. Because you can retreat back to a place that everything you have in your life is useful. It has a purpose. It's not wasteful. The hardest thing in life is looking at something that you don't use. It'll mess with your mind. Let's continue. Josh, my first studio that I just left was a 500 square foot studio apartment. I had to do extra cleaning when I didn't feel like cleaning it. It would affect me mentally since my environment wasn't clean. I hate to clean. Good comment, Josh. I hate to clean. I hate maintenance. Sam, what is the biggest thing that burdens me about owning a house? I hate to clean and I hate maintenance. And that's a huge part of home ownership. That's why I really looked at an RV lot. Because an RV lot, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of cleaning. But if the travel trailer gets too nasty, you throw it away and get another one. I like disposable. So, that's an interesting thing. Let's continue. Josh, I used the extra time on maintenance that I could have been used on other productive things. I made the mistake too. And again, there was a season of my life where having a lot of things meant something to me. And it brought me a level of quote unquote joy. Again, when you're younger, you're in the conquer and acquire mindset. When you're older, you have a midlife crisis because mentally you're breaking down from the burdens you placed in your life and your lack of focus on self-care. And you have to recenter your life and figure out, how are you going to end your life? Like if you wake up at the age of 40, you have to say, all right, I got another 40 years. Am I going to suffer in a marriage, in a house, buried in things like an episode of Hoarders? Or am I going to reset my life intentionally and only acquire if I've counted the cost financially and mentally. You're only going to adopt another pet if you can handle it financially and mentally. Don't forget to count the cost that things have in your life, not just financially, but mentally. Very important. Josh, Adrian, great job. I agree. Marcy, what's up, Marcy? Checking in from Nashville. Shout out to Nashville, Tennessee. Good to see you, Sam. It's a blessing to see you. Going to St. Petersburg, Florida. That's the west coast of Florida. Okay. Next week to visit family. Well, Marcy, safe travels. Enjoy your trip. Still a nice time to be in Florida. It'll be hot, but not horrible. Because Florida's good all the way up until July. That's when it gets really hot and humid during hurricane season. But shout out to you. Safe travels. Enjoy your trip. Enjoy the journey. Traveling and getting away from the familiar setting is good for your mind. A level of travel in life is healthy for your mind. Seeing different things on a certain basis is healthy for your mind. So having the flexibility to travel more is healthy. I was listening today to someone talk on like AM radio, and they were saying that 90% of people that look at going on a vacation trip, traveling, they don't even book the trip. But it gives them hope, and it gives them mental enjoyment from just planning the idea of being able to travel. And that's what has negatively affected some people with the coronavirus is they just can't, even if they never will travel, they can't even have the idea of traveling. And obviously when you have people who are unemployed at a mass level, which right now is like 34 million Americans, you have a level of depression because even if it was available to travel, you wouldn't have the financial means. And so minimalism conquers both of those burdens. So one is you can travel at a higher degree than an average person because you don't own a lot of things. Even if you have a tiny house, and if God forbid you get laid off, it's not a huge worry as if, you were on the hook to taking care of a lot of things at a lot of cost. Minimalism will solve a lot of life, not all of life. And again, I'm an extreme minimalism. And I may add some things, and not everyone should be me, but give some thought into what you acquire. Think about how hard, if I buy this thing, how hard is it to get rid of this thing? That's one of the most interesting things I reflect on when I get ready to purchase something. I say, if I buy this, how hard is it to sell this? Because sometimes in life when you buy something, just knowing you can't get out of it will hurt you mentally. Sometimes why does something change after you say I do and get married? Because you went from a place mentally, from knowing that you could leave the relationship if you wanted to then after you're married, you can't get out of it that quick. And that's a huge mental switch in your mind. Huge. It's overwhelming. Sometimes just knowing that could make the relationship worse. Like, I've thought about that. Like, a lot of times, like, when you say I do, the people don't really change, but something in their mind changes that they're stuck with that person. So I don't think they want to be different, but I think a trigger went off in their mind knowing they're stuck, at least in my viewpoint. And you have to look at that the same way. Like, I do look at that the same way if I'm going to buy a property. Like, there's a trigger now. If you rent, you could get out of it easily. If you buy, not so easy. So give some thought into that. Let's continue. Motivate. Hey, Sam, what's up? I could never relax when I had stuff. I hear you. Would waste my day moving stuff around. I hear that. I try to have as little as possible. Great job, Motivate. Love to you, and thank you for that comment. My man, Brent. Yeah, Nomadic Fanatic buying a place is interesting. Yeah, I may upload the video I made today about it. Like, I have to give it some thought because I don't want to tell other people how to live their life, but my observations are interesting to me. But I almost threw up when I looked at that video because there was a lot of red flags in there. But I purchased a home, and I thought about his life. Like, he's never owned a home. He's never experienced it, so I don't want to take that experience away from him. But I could tell he didn't look happy at all. Now I know he's putting up a gimmick a little bit for the content, but he didn't look happy at all, at least in my opinion. And that's why I want to be careful. I'm trying to mature in how I'm communicating on YouTube. Look, in my opinion, less is more. I'll just say that. Juliana, I'm sorry, we skipped someone. Kamikaze, I believe something. What if you buy some land and the murder hornets be there? Well, look, when I was staying at campgrounds in Florida, I got cockroaches in my house, in my car. So, I know that comment you made was in jest, but the bottom line is you can't eliminate life. But the difference between buying property and having a problem there, whether it's the killer hornets, the person living next to you that's a nasty person that takes a piss on the side of your house or whatever, the difference is the level of commitment. And there's a trigger in your mind when you can't get out of something that hurts you. So if the killer hornets came and you own the property, obviously, look, you're stuck with them until you sell. But if you're just renting or if you're just staying there, then you can leave and then your mental anxieties would be relieved. So a level of relief comes when we get out of a bad situation. A higher level of anxiety comes when we know we can't get out as quickly. And that's where the minimalism, the liquidity, the flexibility, the in and out of less and less commitment and all those things, there's value there. Now, there's value in sometimes owning property. But owning property, there has to be a lot of due diligence. And you really have to calculate a lot of things, whether it would be property taxes, utility bills, neighbors, neighborhood, culture, storms. And you have to think about, is it worth owning or buying? And then you got to remember that you only make money when you sell property. You can buy a piece of property today for $10,000, and tomorrow it could be worth $100,000. But you won't make that $90,000 profit until you sell. And then when you sell that property, where are you going to go next? Okay, so property, to a big point, as far as financial reward, there's a little upside unless you're planning to raise a family, you found a good school system, good place, it's below your means, etc. And for a single person, there's even lower upside, okay? Because one is, if you plan to be single the rest of your life, who are you going to leave your property to? No one. However, who are you going to leave your money to? No one. So use your money resource to add comfort to your life, and I'm thinking about that. But don't let that property or that thing own you. Like, I think on the movie Boomerang with Eddie Murphy and who was the late great comedian who passed away recently? Eddie Murphy's father in the movie Boomerang, he just passed away. He was a great comedian. Something Witherspoon. He had a great saying when Eddie Murphy was at the table and he was getting pussy whipped by Mike Tyson's Robin Givens in the movie Boomerang. And Eddie Murphy was getting pussy whipped and he lost all his confidence. And Eddie Murphy's father said, don't let the pussy whip you, whip the pussy. Okay. So guys, what am I talking about? I'm talking about don't let the things own you. You own the things. Don't let the tail wag the dog. Doesn't matter if you're a man, boy, transgender. Guys, John Witherspoon, good job, James. That was the name of the comedian. Great comedian, guys. I liked him a lot. So like I say, it's not about if you're a man, woman, pussy whip, dick whip. It's about don't let your things run your life. When I had a dog, I spent a lot of time with it, and I couldn't travel or do certain things. And at the end, there was a little bit of resentment there. But I remember sometimes I was telling people, like, look, I can't travel without my dog. I'm not going to leave my dog. And somebody once told me, Sam, do you own the dog or does the dog own you? And I said, yeah, I understand that, but I don't want to leave the dog. I just don't have a peace about it. But it was an interesting comment. And after my dog died, that's why I didn't get another one, for my mental well-being. Okay, because I really learned a lot about myself. There was a great season of my life that my dog added tremendous value, and I would not take those years back. But also, with the years I have left in my life, I would not add a pet for the fact, at least at this point, for the fact that it would take away from my mental health, and then it wouldn't be a healthy environment for the dog. I don't want to be resentful to the dog. Like for me, I would take my dog everywhere. I don't want to just leave my dog tied up to a tree in the back of my house or in my house. I always let my dog sleep on my bed. And there's some people, look, you want to tie your dog to a tree, that's do you. But I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to be you. I'm being myself. That's what my avatar says. And why did you get a dog to tie it on the back of a tree? What does that say about you? What does it say about what you add or take away from that community? Why would you get a dog if you can't take care of a dog? Selfish, undisciplined mind, unhealthy mind. Same thing with a kid. Same thing with anything. Why would you get something unless you're willing to sacrifice and care for that thing? Because you're filling a void. That void, that energy should go into self-care and self-improvement. A lot of distractions in this world. Count the cost before you build a house, before you buy a dog, before you get into a relationship. Count the cost. That's a powerful thing. Let's continue to read live comments. Let's take a hydration break. Good to see you, Isaac. Everyone on live chat, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for clicking that thumbs up. Juliano, shout out to Australia. Hey, Sam. When get rid of all your stuff, you can start again intentionally. Juliano, great comment. And me and you have a very similar mindset, and I'm very grateful for our relationship. And that's what right now, in the season of life I'm in, I only want to have relationships that were on a similar wavelength. Because if I'm pouring energy into something, I want it to be healthy for both, for them and me. And that is the mindset that I have, that I am not an anti-buy stuff. Because I also realize the negative part about not buying things. If you don't buy things and you die with money, who is that money going to go to, especially if you have no heirs? But you should be intentional, because it's not just about money, it's about your mental health. If you buy something, and even if you can afford it, but it takes away from your self-care and your time you need to decompress your thoughts, then it matters. Okay. And that's what we're talking about tonight, is minimalism and mental health. And you have to be intentional on what you buy, or the discipline in not buying. And it's hard. Discipline is hard. And it's only by the grace of God I got out certain things. So I'm not sitting here on my high horse. I'm sharing my thoughts. Now, I'm sharing them sometimes loud and focused, because, guys, this is what I got to do to get myself worked up. But it's very important. Let's continue. Brent, we had sleet. Yeah, Canada had sleet today. Horrible, man. Juan, what's up, brother? Hello to you, man. Great to see you. Shout out to ATL, man. Brent, Palm Beach Gardens. Yep, great area. A lot. DoorDash is popping there, man. They got that big mall. Well, not big mall, but they sell Teslas in that mall in Palm Beach Gardens. I saw that. I did a video from there. I forgot the mall in Palm Beach Gardens. But yeah, they sell Teslas in that mall. Brent, PBG used to be less crowded. Yeah, it's very crowded now. Very congested, higher end community, that area. But nice area, though. Brent, population keeps moving up the coast. Yeah, no doubt about it. The Space Coast, well, even the Palm Coast, like above you, Brent has a piece of property he owns on the Space Coast, which is central East Florida, by Melbourne Beach, Satellite Beach, Cape Canaveral. But even if you go above there, if you go into Palm Coast, there's a little bit of congestion there. The reason I'm at Southeast, because once you get below Vero Beach and further south, you get a higher level of tropical weather. The palm trees are different, and the culture is more Latin, diverse, etc. And I like that for me. So, that's all part of evaluating what environment you want to be in. Brent, soon Port St. Lucie will be really crowded. Well, Port St. Lucie, I think, is the highest growing city in Florida. I think, if not the highest, one of the highest. That's where the Mets have their spring training stadium. I visited that. I think I did a video there back in the day. Nice area. I like to go a little bit south of that, but that is a nice area, nice community. But yeah, that's growing very rapidly. Brent, I grew up going to Carlin Park. Know that area. Love that part. Love Juno Beach. I was looking at a spot in Juno Beach. Very, more expensive, higher property taxes. And so that's why I'm being very cautious. and a little bit congested. I would like to be a little bit out of the congestion. But once you go below Palm Beach Gardens, then it's very congested. Brent has one boy, 9-year-old son. Brent, we live in about 1,000 square foot, renting in Toronto. Yeah, Canada's got crowded too, man. But yeah, again, one person equals 250 square feet. Anyone in the live chat right now, tell me how many people live in your house and what's the square footage of your house. If you don't know the square footage of your house, you haven't started on your journey to minimalism. Because you should do, just like when you look at the back of a food label for the ingredients to balance your diet, you should look at the square footage of your house or apartment and equate that to, is it oversized, undersized, or just right? How much does one person need? 250 square foot. So for every person in your house, add 250 square feet. If you have 2 people in your house and you have 1,000 square foot condo or house, then you have 500 more square feet than you need. That is a great calculation that will guide your home purchasing. Now, it's very hard to find homes under 1,000 square feet because they don't build them like that anymore. But that's why also that America has a lot of bad mental health too, because we got too much stuff and not enough time focused on self. Good job, Brent. I like hearing alternative views. Well, Brent, you're a smart guy, great guy. And again, even if some views I say do not align with yours, don't let me belittle your views, because I respect you. And yeah, these are just me sharing my thoughts. I so appreciate open thinkers. No, I do. And I appreciate that about Elon. I do. Obviously, I push back where I disagree, but you're right. Josh, when I rented for 2 years, I felt that I was throwing away my resources and making someone else rich. Can understand that. If I didn't rent for those 2 years, I could have saved $24,000. Yeah, don't look at life like that, because you could say, well, if I didn't buy the stock, I could have XYZ. The most money you will lose in your life is not buying or renting property. It's trying to make more money through investments. That's my experience. So don't be afraid to buy or rent, because chances are, just like the sitcom The Honeymooners. The Honeymooners was one of the original TV shows in America when TV was just coming out. And it was about this lower class bus driver, Ralph Cramden, who was basically at the poverty level or just above. And he would always come up with schemes on how to try to make more money. And that's where he would lose most of his money. He didn't lose his money because he was renting in the projects in New York, even though he was. He lost his money trying to make more money. And that applies the same for me. So always look at that first and then look at other things. But I do agree that renting is a little bit of throwing your money away a little bit. But even when you own property, paying property taxes is like throwing money away. So, everything has a cost. Living on the road isn't free. But just give it some thought. Be intentional. Juliano, when you have a clear, calm mind, it's easier to look at your physical health. Good job. Good mental health is so important. You're damn right. Great comment. Guys, when I have a bad day now, I still have a bad day. I still get depressed sometimes. I have anxiety depending on what's going on in my life. But I have a higher level of capacity to decompress those thoughts because I have less nonsense in my mind from less things. Less things you have, less to worry about, less things in your mind. As far as like what, So then when you have a bad day, you're trying to process all these thoughts. When you don't have a lot of things weighing your mind down, you can process the thoughts at a greater rate. You're still going to go through a wave of negativity, a wave of pain, but the wave will pass sooner when there's less stuff that it swashes through. So I really do believe that minimalism and mental health are like, they go together. Now, minimalism will not solve some deep psychological issues, but there's an enhancement. There's an enhancement in your mental capacity when you have less to worry about. And there's a level of wisdom in that. Brent, we need to transform our personal philosophy from money focused to time focused. Good point. And finding balance, great word, and retaining mental health. Well put, Brent. Very intelligently stated and very practical and simply stated. Great job. Kamikaze, renting is not smart. You can never own the spot. You just keep paying each month to be there. Somewhat, that's a good point. The only bad point about that is that renting does give you some flexibility that owning doesn't. But you're right. That's a good comment. You're not wrong. But you just have to remember everything has a give and take. So when you don't know where you want to live, don't buy. If you're moving from New Jersey to Florida, don't buy in the first year because you have to figure out what parts of Florida you like. You may visit St. Petersburg, Florida, but then you may realize, I don't like this area. I don't like the culture. I don't like the vibe. I don't like the way the beaches look. The beaches in Florida look different depending on where you go. The culture is different. It took me 2 years to figure out what parts of Florida I like best. You know, it took me a year before that just to figure out like Florida was definitely where I wanted to be. So it takes time to plant roots. Don't rush them. And when you're unsure, don't commit, then maybe rent. And rent just enough square foot that you need. So if you say, Sam, I don't like to rent, I say, I understand that because it is a little bit like throwing money away, but don't buy until you have visited an area you really know good enough to commit to. Then, if you're still in the transition where you're finding out where you want to live and you're renting, don't rent more than you need. Example, if you're a single person with one kid, you don't need necessarily 2-3 bedrooms. You could do a 1-bedroom because a studio apartment is all a single person needs, 250 square foot. If you had a kid living with you, then you could sleep in the studio part, your kid could sleep in the other room or vice versa, and you only need 1 bathroom. Obviously, do what you want, it's your money, but I try to say start at the essentials. Like right now with the coronavirus, the word essential is key to what allows you to move in society if you're an essential worker, right? So in your life, you should have the same mindset. Like if there's an emergency, I should always start with the bare essentials and then build on top of there. But when another emergency comes, because there's always another emergency, whether it's 9/11, whether it's a housing crisis, a coronavirus, or the killer hornets. And I'm not talking about Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning. I'm talking about bees. Okay. When an emergency comes, and if all you have in your life is the essentials and not much more, you're not stressing. Your mental health is not destroyed. But when the coronavirus comes and you built this dream house of 2,000 square foot in an area that maybe you didn't really research well enough, the stress comes. Anxiety, fear. Fear is devastating to the mind. I posted something on my community page on my YouTube channel the other day. I was researching psychological literature that fear actually, in a practical way of saying it, fear actually destroys your brain. Okay. There are certain chemicals that are released in your brain that are harmful to your brain when there's high levels of fear. Now, a certain level of fear keeps you from doing certain things, right? From jumping off a bridge, etc. But if you live in fear, if you live in anxiety, then you cycle down into a dark hole of depression, and that has long-term negative effects on your mental health and on your physical health because it eventually manifests throughout your body. You know, whatever happens in one part of your body eventually kind of cycles through your entire body. Like, God forbid you get cancer, one of the biggest fears is that cancer could spread and take over all your cells. If you have a blood clot, one of the fears is that blood clot can spread, to a different part of your body and cause a major artery to clog. So if you are building your life with a lot of fears and they spread and they get bigger, they can really manifest mentally and physically and damage your life. And so, guys, it's only by the grace of God I've been saved, because I could have really damaged my life long term. But luckily, I was able to wake up at a certain point in my life and start to be more intentional. Okay. I almost had a mental meltdown selling my house, because that's a very scary thing, to sell a house and to not have anywhere else to go. But don't be scared to rent. Be scared to buy something above your means. Okay. Because renting you can get out of easier than you can buying. Let's take a hydration break, guys. We're going to all off comments. Don't forget, every Sunday we're going to do members only chat. Savat's our newest member, and I'll branch out from there. Everyone can still watch the chats, but that's just something new on the channel. Thank you guys again for watching. Love to you. Let's continue. And Savat, on note, that green symbol now shows Savat has joined the memberships. Thank you, brother, for clicking that blue join button. Love to you. Love to all my truck drivers. I'm glad to hear that you're recovering from possibly getting the coronavirus, man. So welcome to the All Access membership, man. I see your symbol. I just joined. Thank you, brother. Congratulations, man. Love to see you on this journey. Carrie, love to you also. Hey, Sam, great to see you. Brent, There is no clear verdict about renting versus owning. That's true. It depends on the market. Also, a fair comment. Where you live, also fair comment. Your resources, excellent point. And your temperament. Brent, that is a well thought out, very reasonable and smart comment. And I will not disagree with that. I think that's an excellent comment. Thank you for adding that to the channel, Brent. Price to rent where I live is among the highest in the world. Well, Canada, I mean, I don't know how is the, let me ask you this, Brent. How is the economic conditions been in Canada, in your part of Canada in the past 3 years? And now how is it with the coronavirus? So I know Canada was like really excelling economically, but I don't live there, so I don't want to assume. How has it been in the past 3 years, and how is it now with the coronavirus, the economics in Canada? Savat, yes. Savat lost his smell. So Savat believes he had got the coronavirus, then the first symptom he had was he lost his smell. Loss of smell and loss of taste is one of the red flags that I heard that you have to be mindful. Also, swollen feet may be a red flag. If you possibly have the coronavirus, then you should get tested. But it's scary to get tested, Josh. Lost smell. Interesting. Anything else severe or uncomfortable? Savat, I got sick for 2 days, body aches. Josh, New Jersey. I wasn't talking about you. I was agreeing with you. Okay, thank you. And that's why I didn't block him, Josh, because I didn't know what was going on, but I wanted to put him in timeout only because I know you and I want to keep a healthy environment. Look, I'm at the point now, 3 years having a YouTube channel, and it takes a toll on your mental health. And I tell you, if I had a house, if I had a family, I wouldn't be running a YouTube channel. I personally, based on my temperament, I wouldn't have the extra capacity. So now I try to balance where adding YouTube to my life while not destroying my mental health. So creating an environment, blocking, but also trying to calm down a little bit now from severe blocking. Maybe I'll use timeout. Maybe I'll use member-only chats. I'll use certain things to create an environment where don't have to be so extreme with lashing out on people, etc., etc. So I'm going to grow and evolve as we go forward. Savat, no test. Savat, doing good now. Smell not back. All right, keep us posted, brother. Josh, Savat, that's great to hear. Amen, brother. Savat's also a great guy, man. I respect all our truck drivers out there, man. He says, thank you, Josh. Juliano, minimalism is definitely a discipline. Juliano, excellent. It's so true. I've been thinking about that recently because it's just like having a second plate of food. You know, it's easy to buy a second outfit just to have another color. It's easy to buy a second house. Like I remember in my downsizing journey, I almost bought a second house in Florida or the Jersey Shore before I sold my house. And I remember I was walking around my community and kind of at the end of my time in the community I lived, everyone knew I was thinking about moving to Florida. And this one older lady, she was getting ready to retire, sell her house and move into like a retirement community. And I was asking her about the house sale process and what she needed to do because I was trying to do research for what I knew I was going to do eventually. And I was asking her a lot of questions about what she was doing with her home sale. And she goes, Sam, why are you asking me? I go, well, I'm asking because I'm thinking of either selling my house first or buying another house in Florida or the Jersey coast because I want to live by the ocean and then selling my house. And she goes, Sam, she goes, well, I'm an old lady. She goes, but I remember one thing my father told me and it always guided my life. He goes, never have two mortgages. And that was a powerful statement. It really hit me when she said that. Now, I'll defer a little bit back to Brent's comment. Everyone has their own situation, their own resources, and their own temperament. And I think that was an excellent word. So for me, for my temperament, it would destroy my mental health to be obligated to two houses. I didn't realize that at the time, but when she said that, something clicked in my mind. Don't have two houses. Don't have two mortgages. Don't have two cars. You know, I remember when I was young, I had a couple cars. I had like a beater car and a nice car. You know, two insurances, two levels of maintenance. Usually one car rots away. If you want to see the culture in a community, drive around. If there are cars in the driveway or on the front yard that are decaying, that is the sign of bad culture in that community. Now you say, Sam, why is it a sign of bad culture? Well, one is it's probably a high poverty community, but that doesn't mean it's bad. But a mindset that if it is high poverty, Why would you keep two cars if one car is just rotting away? Because the mind is so mentally unhealthy, it can't let go of even a decaying, rusty car. If there is a broken down travel trailer in front of a house that isn't being used, you shouldn't look down on them because they're poor, but you should understand that there's a mental health issue there, that they're poor and they're keeping stuff that's decaying. You should just have the trash removal remove that. I didn't understand these things in an immature state. And I'm not saying these things in judgment. I'm saying these things in an observation of life through a level of psychological health, financial health, and emotional health. All these things are important to me now. Why? Because I want to suffer less. Why do I want to suffer less? Because that's how you live your best life. Okay. That means something to me. Alice, shout out to PA. Pennsylvania's in the house. We're going to be back to 60 degrees tomorrow. That's hot for up here. Make life great. Well, damn it, Alice. Keep Pennsylvania safe. Love to you. I'm close to you right now, Alice. I'm telling you right now. But all I can tell you is it was cold up north today, but tomorrow's going to be 60 degrees, sunny. Happy Mother's Day early for all my mothers out there. And if you're not a mother, God bless you anyway. And what I'm here to tell you is we're going to be 60 degrees sunny the rest of the week. So, Alice, I love you. Thank you for being a long-time viewer. I pray for your mental health, your physical, and your emotional health. And I pray that you can cut out anything unhealthy and you could prune your garden of your life. It's cold in Erie, PA. I know. It was cold today where I was at too. But it's going to get warmer. Make it through every dark night is a brighter day. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And what I'm here to tell you is when it's 60 degrees sunny, joy cometh in the morning. Okay. However, if I was in Florida, 60 degrees is a cold front. But let me be thankful, and I am thankful, that I'm going to be able to spend Mother's Day with my mother. It is going to be sunny. My mother at least is able to still walk. I'm able to still walk. I own nothing but my car in one bag, but I have good mental health, and I'm thankful. Let us be thankful, and let us take a hydration break. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Tennis Unlocked, and thank you, Savat, to my new member, brother. God bless you. We'll make it through, guys. We're going to take life one day at a time, man. That's all we're going to do. We're going to be very thankful. Let me also take a Trident Tropical Beet gum. This is low sugar gum. Now, tropical. Why is it tropical? Because I got to live that tropical life. And there's something about the colors and the juice of a tropical piece of gum, like tropical Florida. New Jersey's not tropical, guys. But I'm thankful. All right, let's continue. Josh, Giuliano, yep. Kerry, I've started going to my storage unit, and I want to have as little as possible from my storage unit. Kerry, keep downsizing. You'll never regret it. Josh, yeah, when you think about it, most furniture is used as a filler to occupy vacant space, to make it look full. If you want to be lonely, have too much square footage in your house. Because even furniture can't fill the void. And the bigger the house, I like small spaces. You feel cuddled. You feel cozy. A big space is useless, wasteful, harmful to your mental health. Makes you feel lonely. And then you're texting someone after 9 p.m. to come over. Disaster. Kerry, I went through all my papers and I have half a box of papers to shred. Shred them all. Because all your financial information you should just store digitally, keep in the cloud, take a screenshot, send it as an attachment to your own email and put in a file. The only paperwork you need is your social security card and your birth certificate. Okay? And that should go in a safe deposit box if you're a nomad. Don't drive with your social security card and your birth certificate. Don't drive with that. Put that in a security box. Don't have a storage unit for your social security card. You don't need a big storage unit. Let's continue. Ty, my two possessions I use the most are my car and my rice cooker. Well, I'm not mad at that. Food and transportation are essentials. Not eating out as much will save you a lot of money. That's true. And for me, an essential is technology. My phone is my number one resource other than my car. And, downsizing, if you wanted to eat out more, some people enjoy eating out. So if you downsize your life and you have extra resources and you want to deploy them to eating out because that gives you a better quality of life, I'm not mad at you. Downsizing gives you more options to deploy your resources based on your passion, your interest, your hobbies, your health. That matters. Juliana, when I think of minimalism, I think of simplicity and efficiency. Good word. But in saying that, I do like things to have a beautiful aesthetic too and to be high quality. I agree with that also. Got to balance it out. Balance. Is it better to be efficient or effective? I remember an Indian guy had told me that one time. I had a neighbor, he was an Indian guy. He used to only come to America like for a couple months out of the year. And we would talk about philosophy and worldly philosophies, different countries, different philosophies in different countries. And he says, Sam, he said with a real heavy Indian accent, he says, Sam, what do you think is more important, efficiency or effectiveness? And I said, effectiveness. And he says, good answer. Efficiency is important. That's minimalism. It's like only having what you need. However, effectiveness is even more important. Okay? Because effectiveness is getting the job done. Efficiency is doing the job with as least effort or energy needed. You're not wasting energy doing something. But if you are efficient, but you're not effective, you're not getting things done. So if you sell everything, but you aren't living an effective, joyful life, that wasn't just the answer. You didn't maybe focus on the other things, or maybe that's not what you were called to do. I mean, it's not just about downsizing, it's about living with purpose and filling that void with self-care and finding that purpose, going on your own journey, because that's an effective life. Utilizing your gift is an effective life. Vanessa, great to see you. I've been praying for you. You're going to be okay, Vanessa. Don't worry. You're going to be okay. Don't worry, Vanessa. Like I say, guys, you're never going to starve to death. Not in America. Don't worry. Effectiveness is more important than efficiency. Now, efficiency is important because not being efficient is being wasteful. And wasted energy, wasted money is damaging. But effectiveness is streamlining your life and focusing on what really matters. And doing it. D-O-it. Doing it. Or do it. What should you do? Well, once you minimalize your life, you focus your energy on self-care, you're going to find out what your gifts are. Your gifts are what you're above average at. And your life should be centered around refining what you're above average at. If you have above average looks, you want to focus your life around being a model, right? Probably, maybe that's your gift. If you have above average talent with numbers, you want to focus your life around being an accountant. Some people have an above average ability to be a nurturer, and they like to be a caretaker, whatever it is, guys. I mean, come on. I may have an above average gift with communication. I focus my energy on YouTube a little bit. Okay. But if I still had a house, if I was still doing a side work with construction and all these other things, because the more you have, the more you need to do to maintain those things, and the less time you have to focus on what is important to you. Now, sometimes what's important to you don't pay the bills. But when you live a minimalistic life, they don't have to pay the bills. Why? Because, you can do things that are somewhat of a luxury and may not make as much as you would need to cover the cost of things that you have in your life that you don't need. And this is why it all plays a part. Streamlining is efficiency. Executing is effectiveness. You streamline so you can execute on what you're above average at. What you're above average at is your gift. Your gift is your purpose in life. If you don't know your gift, streamline your life, work on self-care, it'll be revealed to you. Let's take a hydration break. Love to you guys. Carrie, my goal. Oh, I read it. Oh no, I didn't. My goal is to go through storage and to be able to use up only half of my trunk or stuff. Well, that's a good goal. Got to have a goal. Got to have a target to hit a target. So good job, Carrie. Love to you and always great to see you. Josh, Giuliano, I'm the exact same way. I do enjoy the finer things in life. Being a minimalist is a bonus because we have more resources, excellent, to play with so we can treat ourselves, I totally agree, to the finer things on occasion. I totally agree. Well said. Jeffrey, what's up, man? Yes, what's up, Sam? Speak of how much do you need in life? Sectional couch, yeah, living space, animal. I'm capable of taking care of cat or dog. It's true. Look, everyone's different. Again, I only speak passionately about what I'm passionate about. I read all the other comments so you guys can tell me what you're passionate about, but most humans are inefficient. And you can be effective and inefficient, but unlikely. The more efficient you are, the more effective you are. And that's why efficiency does play a part, because efficiency streamlines your focus, your energy, and your resources. What's the difference between a laser and a light? Focus. So the difference between a laser and a light is focus. And, you got to have a lot of focus in life to get stuff done that you desire. Luke, Sam, my man, what's up, brother? Great to catch you live. Well, Luke, shout out to you. Shout out to everyone in the Carolinas. And I appreciate your positive attitude, man. Luke, what's the thoughts on the 1, 2, 3 go on, want RV, land, move, home lot? I basically believe that Luke is asking me, what are my thoughts in order of priority, a piece of land, a RV, or a home? So, an RV above 20,000 has to be given a lot of thought. If I were to buy a Class B motorhome for 60 or 7,000, I don't believe buying a piece of land would make sense. If I buy a motorhome, I'm pretty much, if it's going to be over 20,000, I'm pretty much committing to staying full-time on the road. Because to me, it wouldn't make sense to buy a motorhome and a home base. If I'm going to buy a home base, a RV lot, or a small little piece of land to put an RV on, I'm going to buy a travel trailer and keep a car. I do not foresee myself buying a single-family house, a condo, or a townhouse. I had a condo for 15 years, and I don't want to be in the sheetrock walls. I don't want to pay home insurance. And when you buy it, I just don't want to go down that road. I'd rather just have a RV lot where the property taxes will stay low, the commitment will stay low, the cleaning will stay low, the insurances will be none. It's less entanglement, financially and emotionally. If a storm comes in Florida, I don't have to worry about an RV lot because my RV lot's gone. It's just a piece of land. A tiny home you got to worry about. A single family home you definitely got to worry about. And it has a higher cost financially and emotionally. Right now, I would never purchase anything over 500 square foot. Even purchasing something of 500 square foot, which I almost did a tiny home this winter, the only reason I would do that is because my mother's still alive, and if she comes to live with me, I want her to have 250 square foot, and I want to have 250 square foot. Each person in the house needs no more than 250 square feet. But long term, I could personally live anywhere between 50 square foot to 250 square foot. Right now, I live in 10 square feet. My car, my Jeep Renegade, is approximately 10 square feet. Can anyone say they live in 10 square feet? I can. For 3 years, I have. Outside is my backyard, is my house. Today, it was cold. It was under 50 degrees Fahrenheit. I still was outside a lot, but not as much as I like. But it's going to be an RV lot or a Class B motorhome. I don't foresee me getting a single family house or a townhouse. And the value would probably be greater in buying a RV lot and then putting a cheap travel trailer on it rather than buying a motorhome. Because a motorhome would be good if I was in my 60s. But right now, still, I'll be 40 this year. I'll take away the option of DoorDash if I needed to. I'll lose fuel efficiency. And it will be a depreciating asset. So I still like the Corrado Axion. They stopped making them. The Heimer group got bought out and they will start making new Class Bs the second half of 2020. I will look at them. But they are expensive. They're above $60,000, and that's a lot of money. And I may be better off buying a piece of land for that or less and putting a cheap travel trailer on it. Vanessa, $9.99 super chat. She goes, I asked my job back. Boss said he accepts my apology because I yelled. God bless your humility. Wants to talk Monday, probably eating crow and keeping job. God bless you. I can't play with my car bills right now. Stay until I feel better. Vanessa, I love you and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you even if you didn't do that, because you showed humility, though. You showed wisdom. Vanessa, what I would tell you is go there, play the game, get your money, and leave as far as every day. But if you go there and you see it's still an unhealthy environment, secure another job before you leave. So I'm not against you leaving that job. Just try to secure another one before you leave. Every job has good and bad, but I am proud of you. I'm thankful for you, and I'm going to continue to pray for you that, there's grace in the work environment and that you're left alone to a certain level and you can just do what you need to do and leave for the day. But if you go back and it's unhealthy, just keep getting the paychecks and go on job interviews, secure another job before you leave. And Vanessa, I would still recommend signing up for DoorDash and doing DoorDash on the weekends, so you have that option always in the back of your mind, so you have more security, more peace, and just more empowerment. So Vanessa, good job, number one. Number two, still sign up for DoorDash and still make a couple deliveries. And number three is if you go back to the job and it's still unhealthy, don't quit, but try to secure another job before you leave. I believe that wisdom will guide your life. Your humility blessed you, and God bless you, Vanessa. I've been praying for you. I've been thinking about you because I know how it is. Love to you, Vanessa, and thank you for that graciousness. Love to you. And Josh is praying for you too. Let's continue to read. Love to you, Vanessa. That was a good comment. James. Yeah, John Witherspoon. Thank you, James. Yeah, he was a great comedian. Very honest, direct person. Isaac. Hey, guys. What's up, Isaac? Great to have you, man. James. Sam, baby. We had a customer freak out last week about the social distancing, and another woman got upset with her. There's always a certain percentage of people that are always going to cause a problem, whether there's social distancing or no social distancing. There's always a group in society that, whether it be to bad mental health, overstress, or whatever, that get into arguments in the public. You can never eliminate that. But if you're at your job and you are living a minimalistic life and you're focusing on self-care, you could deal with conflict better. Like one of the first videos I did about living below your means, the reason it is important is because when you're at the job and you have conflict, you don't need to get enraged because you have more mental capacity to decompress the stress. Like, ironically, when you're really struggling in life and you have too much in your life, too many bills and too much stress, and you go to your job and something happens, you actually get angrier quicker because, like, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. And so why I practice and what I preach is minimalism will help your wallet and your mental health deal with life. Less suffering, less lashing out. And that will help you live a better life, period. Now, again, I am not promoting that everyone live like me. I recognize that I live on the extreme side of minimalism. And I do also recognize that I may eventually add some things. But I am sharing that I think it's valuable to you to inventory your life, to look at the wasteful, to become more efficient so that you can be more effective in living a better quality life. I think that's important. Let's continue to read. Brent, my first job was at Sears at the Gardens Malls. Oh, okay, yeah, the Gardens Mall. That was it. Brent, I didn't know that was your first job. That's interesting. My first job was at Menlo Park Mall in New Jersey. I saw it get built early in high school. James, Sam baby, I got bought a spicy toasted sub, and the guy had to take my card with a napkin and clean the card, then hand it back with a tray. Never went this before. Yeah, there's a lot involved now, with transacting with people with all these different rules and regulations. It's a very contagious virus. It may not be a very deadly, but very contagious. So, I mean, like I say, even as we start to reopen America, obviously we're going to evaluate the outbreak level, but I think 6 months from now, in my opinion, even if America is three-quarters of a way open, I still think we're going to be wearing face masks. I still think social distancing will be in place in a lot of the populated areas. So there is a new normal. Again, this may not be like this forever, but they're saying definitely until the vaccine or until, we're going to have this type of lifestyle for a long period of time. Now, again, long is relative because 2 years does fly by, but it's something that you got to really give thought to. Brent, Stewart is nicer. I agree with you. I love Stewart. Locals call Port St. Lucie lousy because of bad planning. It's a very congested area, and I agree with that statement. I love Stewart. Brent, teenagers need more space, in my opinion. I agree with that, Brent. That's an excellent comment. I was the same way. That's a good comment. Brent, our 1,000 square foot 2-bedroom is fine for now. Yeah, I think that's good. You got an extra 250 square foot as a buffer because you got 3 people living in your house. So that means you would need 750 square feet. You got 1,000 square foot, which that gives you a surplus of an extra 250 square feet, which allows extra room for your kids and for general recreation. That's good. Especially when you're a teenager, you have friends over, etc. Brent, I honestly don't know where to put extra money these days. It's a tough decision. They are making savers suffer. Like with zero interest rates, savers are suffering, and they're saying that eventually we may go to negative interest rates. In some parts of the world, there are already negative interest rates, meaning that if you put $1,000 in a savings account and negative interest rates go to zero, interest rates go from 0% to negative, the bank will actually deduct money out of your account just for having it in the account, because the government would try to push people to take money out of their account to put it in the stock market or a business to try to spur economic activity. So the philosophy with economics is if the Federal Reserve goes to negative interest rates, you want to get people to take money out of their savings and put it into something to keep money flow in the economy. Now, that hurts people who don't take too much risk. And it's a dangerous road. It really is. I don't think I want to see that. Because as I get older, the less risk I want to take. I just want to live a simple life. Good comment. Josh, and I don't have the temperament for long-term investing. I understand like long-term stock index tends to appreciate, but I don't have the temperament to go to sleep at night and not knowing what the stock market is going to do. And something about it just doesn't sit with me right. I know over time it appreciates, but it's just how I feel. Josh, you're right, Nomad. I can't have the regret mentally. It served its purpose and I learned from it. Josh, mature comment then. That's what I tell myself when I look at past relationships or past bad decisions. You just say, look, they served some good. You're over it now. The season of your life changed and you're evolved and you take the good from it and you leave the bad. Luke, I miss South Florida. I miss South Florida every day. So much I am really ready to move back. If it wasn't for my mother, I would not be in New Jersey, but I'm thankful to be with my mother. But South Florida is the only place for me. Southeast. I miss the Latin, European, Haitian, the Caribbean vibe. I miss that down there. It's a melting pot, man. Miami Beach popping. I remember being walking distance to the beach. It's all still shut down for the most part, but it's true. Luke, and like yourself, used to walk my dog on the beaches. He was the world famous dog. Yeah, you get a lot of girls with dogs. I took him for happy hours often. Yeah, I love dogs. I still love to see service dogs and things out walking. I do. Brent, control over your time and attention is more important than money. Assuming you have enough money for the needs and a few wants. Brent, 100 emoji and fire emoji. You're nailing it tonight. Great comments. Luke, he had his own bowl for water, of course. Amen. People would take pictures of him. He was a 355-pound Rottweiler. Wow, man, that's a big dog. Josh, laughing. Luke, I was going to ask what dog was it. Nice. Luke, dog emoji. Luke, yeah, man. He was loved down there in Miami. I felt heartbroken, when he passed away. That's the tough part about having a dog, man. He was more than a dog. He was a partner in crime, man. It's a tough thing, man, when you lose a dog. It's like losing a child to me. Josh, Luke, whatever happened to the Rottweiler overall? I feel like I see less of them. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I see less of them too. Still see a lot of pit bulls. Luke, he definitely was a lady killer. Perfect. Yeah, definitely. Luke, Sam, I had, uh, he had the Instacart from hell today. Yeah, you get some good and some bad deliveries. But that's why I don't do Instacart, because I don't like shopping for a lot of items. DoorDash, if it's a bad pickup or delivery, it's usually over within 10 minutes to an hour max. So a bad batch at Instacart would drive, I don't have the temperament for that. However, I would have that in my pocket of resources for some people. Some people don't do good with quick DoorDashes. They may do better with Instacart, but I like DoorDash better than Instacart because of that reason. And then he goes, he had a bad Instacart experience today. He had a batch of 112 items. That's a lot, but that's probably a big tip. High risk, high reward. 112 item shopping list, and the card did not work. I've been there with DoorDash. I was on the phone one time for about an hour. So we had to re-ring the whole order. Oh. And after packed, already in the cart. Yeah, that's a disaster. I'm sorry you went through that, brother. I've been through a similar experience, but not with Instacart. Luke, I made 200 today. Well, that'll make all the pain feel better. Working from 7 a.m. to 4 a.m. Guys, there's never been a better time to DoorDash or Instacart. Why? Because there's low traffic on the road, there's low gas prices, and there's high demand. However, it won't always be like this. And if you haven't signed up already, just remember it takes a couple weeks to get you signed up, going, and you got to do it for about a month before you're really efficient. And so, you got to be very careful to think like it's going to be easy. It's not hard, but like everything in life, it takes some practice. Good job. And you're always going to have some disasters, Luke. I mean, only working 7 hours. Now, look, it's a good gig. And you still got to deduct your gas, wear and tear, etc. from and taxes from that 200. So you got to deduct 30%. That's what I figure on average. So 30% off 200 is what is that? 20, 40, it's $140. So really, if you grossed $200 today on Instacart, you made $140 after your deductions, taxes, etc. Let's continue, read, Luke. All right, Brent, answering your question. Toronto, I asked Brent regarding Canada and his area specifically, how is the economy? And this is his answer, because he lives in Canada, Toronto area. He goes, Toronto depends too much on real estate and financialization of the economy. All the big Canadian banks are headquarters here. Okay. Doesn't also Canada depend on the oil industry heavily? And then he goes, we are a basket case economically, and politicians have made poor decisions favoring debt over investing in productivity. COVID-19 in Canada is half of as bad as U.S. per capita. Well, don't forget, Canada, just like U.S., can print money. And so it's better for a country to go into debt than for a country to be debt-free. And, guys, society decides on the value of currency, and all the major countries are printing money. America was $22 trillion in debt before the coronavirus, and our president said we had the best economy ever. While we were $22 trillion in debt, while we went in further debt to give subsidies to corporations, lower the tax rate, and subsidize our farmers. So the oil industry is subsidized by governments. So it's the government's job, okay, because money is printed. Money doesn't exist. It only exists because we as society say we allow a government to print money and says it means something. If we don't, we could just say we're not going to buy into the system. We're going to destroy the system. We're going to revolt. But we have accepted that printed money is better than the farmer industry. The farmer, like when we were all in the 1800s, we were living off the land. We were farmers. Okay. And that was before printed money. So do you want to live off the land? That's a harsh way to live. And barter and trade, that's a harsh, undeveloped way to live. That's an undeveloped country. So developed countries print money, spur economic growth, and they have a higher quality of life based on your perspective, but that's a certain way to look at it. So the Federal Reserve and companies that print money, they're more developed. They're higher evolved, better healthcare systems, overall better economics. The poorest countries live off the land and barter. They have worse healthcare, worse technology. Governments and printed money exist for the benefits of society. However, corporations lobby the governments and have the laws skewed in their favor for corporate welfare. Who should you vote for? Guys, they're all corrupt. They're all corrupt. But vote for who you're going to get something out of. Like, why am I going to vote for Joe Biden? Because he's going to make Social Security start at age 60. That matters to me. Okay. Because we already went in debt to make the stock market boom, and we're buying junk bonds now and printing money. And look, that's great. I don't care who gets elected to the standpoint that I'm still going to do what I need to do for my life. I'm going to be a positive, productive person. But how I've justified politics, that it's just what it is. But I vote for whoever is going to give me something. Why not? Why would you vote for someone who's going to say, all right, we're going to go in debt as a country, but we're not going to provide a service to the masses. We're not going to give universal income or universal health care or make Social Security lower. Why would you vote for them? Do you want to subsidize more corporations? These corporations, they outsourced everything. They maximize profits and cut headcount quick. Why would you want them to have more power? So I don't want corporations to go bankrupt. I don't want society to have anarchy. I just say that things are good, though. Because even with COVID-19, the coronavirus, we're better off than we were during the Great Depression in 1929, when there was bread lines, mass destitute, really no healthcare system to speak of. So I have hope, even in a contentious political environment, that whether you live in America, Canada, or any other developed land, we are still better off than we were 100 years ago. And that's hope. And that's actual evidence to prove that. So we'll go forward. So get involved with politics, vote, but don't get consumed by the fire of politics where you don't enjoy your life. And there are opportunities, whether it's DoorDash, Instacart, or working for a corporation. There are opportunities. But you, as an individual, whether you live in Canada or America or any other place in the country or world, I should say, you have to decide to minimalize your life, to cut out the waste, to lessen the stress on your mind so that you can focus more on what's important to you to live a better quality life. And if it's your dream to live in Florida or wherever, and that's my dream because I got to be by sunny weather. It hurts my mental health to be by these cold weather. I was able to do that because I liquidated my assets. I minimalized my life. Even now, even though I don't want to be in Jersey, I'm spending quality time with my mom because I live a minimalistic life. I have that option. Flexibility is only good if you use it. Minimalism is only good if you use it. You got to be effective. What matters to you? Look, right now, what matters to me was to be close to my mom during this crisis, to set some things up for her that we're going to have a better level of communication, whether it's through a smartphone or whatever. And just have a higher level of peace in how I'm intentionally living. Because minimalism gives you a focus to be intentional. And that's what Giuliano and others talked about. Let's continue reading. Yes, Alice, I'm still working remotely with the IT company. Yes. Isaac, nice, bro. I've been doing DoorDash, but Instacart sounds interesting. It does, but it's a little bit more involved. Josh, Isaac, keep it up. Those platforms are killing it. Right now, it's a great time to do that. Isaac, yeah, I've been able to do a complete 180 with my financials, so it's been a blessing. It's true. Look, I know guys that worked in a great industry, made great money, and they're great people. But they had 2 houses, 2 cars, maybe 2 boats, Everyone should spend their money how they want, okay, number one. But I observe human nature, and I see who has high levels of stress. And it's usually people who have more materialism and not enough minimalism. That's true. Let's continue reading. Alice, thank you again. We're going to make life as good as possible intentionally. Love to you. Alice is cold in PA. I know it. Brett, When I lived in a 2020 apartment, so 20 by 20, what is that, 400 square foot apartment? In a university, I was very happy. Don't need much. Kind of minimalism that was really satisfying. Cozy, small spaces inspire me. I really do believe that. Luke, Sam, knowing my situation with my mom, would you recommend me texting her after all the hurt I feel? Only if you have accepted her and that you may not get the right text back, and you may get hurt again. I eventually cut off my father for good because I just went down the road after 10 years of us always ending up in the same place. And I'm not saying I necessarily made the right decision, because it's very painful to cut out someone who's did something for you in your life. And, I try to show my dad respect, but it wasn't mentally healthy for me anymore. So obviously I can't answer that question for you, but I can say that don't have anyone in your life if you can accept them. And if they're not good for your mental health, you have to ask yourself, do you accept them? So it's a tough answer. And I am certainly not going to say, you got to give it a lot of thought. So love to you, brother. I know that's not easy on you. Alice, it's snowing today. Well, hang in there, Alice. Hopefully it'll melt soon and be warmer for you. I don't know, though, Alice. Do you like the hot weather? I love the hot weather, right? Smaller spaces encourage creativity. I agree with that. Minimalism, I agree. Being resourceful with constraints is very satisfying and healthy. Well put. Luke, question. Do you cook in the car? No, I don't cook in the car. So I've been more intentional about how much money I'm spending eating out, because living on the road, you can spend obviously you can spend anywhere from $10 to $50 a day on eating out. I think $10 a day is on the low end, the lowest. I think, $20 to $25 a day is probably where you want to be on average. Above $25 a day, you could if you want, but you have to be mindful that adds up. Like if you spend $30 a day on food, drink, etc., that's $900 a month. So, if you spend $10 a day on food and drink, that's $300 a month. So you could calculate those metrics based on how you want to live, what your financial goals are. But just something to give thought about. Luke, and I don't like cooking because cooking is cleaning and maintenance. But I do like eating healthy, and it's a little bit more challenging, because I don't just eat off the dollar menu. That's true. And I like kale and beans, so I got to be a little bit more creative. Let's continue to read. Luke goes, I feel like if I text, he's talking about his mom, if I text her Happy Mother's Day, then she feels I subscribe to the way she treats me and wonder if silence is the best way. Well, one is, you're not going to teach your mom a lesson. She's not going to change. So if you text your mom a Happy Mother's Day, it's a gift. When you give a gift, you expect nothing back. And so if you text your mom, I love you, Happy Mother's Day, don't expect a reply, and don't expect a reply that you like. If you can't accept that, if you think you may text her and either not get a reply or get a reply you don't like and it's going to hurt you too much mentally, then don't text her. But any gift you give, whether it's a gift of a text message, a gift of a call, or a gift of money, any gift should only be given if you expect nothing back and you can handle that. If you can't handle that, don't give it back. Or don't give it, I should say. John, good to see you, brother. Good to see everyone on the live chat, guys. Thank you for joining tonight. We're going to continue to read all live comments. If you're watching, I appreciate if you click the thumbs up. And if you're interested in joining my channel memberships, click that blue join button. Every Sunday, I will do a members-only chat, and I'll evolve that and grow that. And that's what we're pushing forward with. Love to you, brother. Luke, I am. Vanessa. We are always graded on effectiveness when I worked at Target. Yeah, the bottom line is the bottom line. So the bottom line is a financial term for if you take your income and expenses and what are you left over with. Like if you make $2,000 a month and your expenses are $1,000 a month, the bottom line is you made $1,000 a month. So Luke did an Instacart today. He grossed $200. That was his revenue. His expenses were probably like $60. His bottom line net profit was $140. So every good company measures the bottom line. However, every company, especially nowadays, they track data. They do data analytics because you want to Be efficient, because the more efficient you are, the more effective you are. Now, there's trade-offs, but efficiency and effectiveness, they are kind of like very much in tune to deliver a result. And that's why YouTube has like YouTube Analytics. That's why even like professional basketball teams, they have analytics to figure out, like what are the best plays, what are the best players to put in what position. So the studying of data to form a decision is a level of science. Science is wisdom. However, life is not an exact science, so you can't just say, like, this is the exact mathematical formula to equal this answer. There's a level of art and creativity to life that may take away from your efficiency, but may deliver to your effectiveness. So you have to find that balance in life. It's true. Josh, interesting. Never thought about that. Effectiveness over efficiency. I always use the two as synonyms, but there is a difference. There is definitely a difference, but they're somewhat in play with each other, like I just stated. But there's a difference. Josh, hey, Vanessa, hey. Luke, what is your diet been like during the quarantine? I wake up, I have a McDonald's small coffee with milk, no sugar, and a McDonald's fruit oatmeal, and I put a banana in it. Then I eat that. Then probably around lunchtime, 11 a.m., I'll have, I usually go to Wawa, and I'll get a egg white sandwich on maple rye toast and 3 pieces of baked chicken, no bread. And then I'll usually have a small bag of chips or pretzels with a Diet Coke. Then at lunch, at dinner around 4 or 5, I'll have beans, kale, and sometimes some rice, and once in a while a little shrimp in there. And then I'll have one more small cup of coffee, milk, no sugar, with a banana and a protein bar at night. So that's kind of like my routine. 90% of it is 80% to 90% is plant-based. Again, I add a little chicken or a little fish. I would prefer tofu or stuff, but out on the road, slim pickings a little bit with that right now with no kitchenette. So, that's my overall diet these days, and then just go from there. Vanessa, thank you again, Vanessa, and I know I read that already, but the bottom line is Vanessa had quit her job. She decided that it was best to make peace with her manager, go back to her job, and then if she's going to leave the right way by securing another job first. But like I tell you, sign up for DoorDash, do a couple, and secure another job before you leave yours. Thank you again for the tip. Thank you for coming in here. We're going to keep you in our prayers. Josh, Vanessa, sorry to hear that they were being toxic. Glad you have security again. Amen. And remember, build up your savings account before you pay down debt, pay the bare minimum on debt, and then go from there. Vanessa, my boss and I fight every now and then. He's never fired me. Well, that's a positive. He believes in you then if he never fired you. And I've never quit and never apologized. This is the first time I quit and apologized. Well, thank God that to me, that doesn't seem like a toxic relationship. That may be at sometimes a contentious thing a little bit, but no relationship is perfect. And you spend more time with your coworkers than you do your family. Now, maybe that has changed a little bit with this quarantine, and maybe that's a good thing. And I do think more people will work from home after this is over. But the good news is there is a level of a healthy foundation where he never fired you. So just by that alone, he sees value in you. And you've never quit, so you don't have a recurring pattern of giving up. So, look, you adjusted and you showed humility and you made the right decision for your best life. Now, going forward, recalculate what you need to go forward and continue to push forward in a positive way. But you're figuring it out. Josh, got Vanessa. Glad you're back on track. I agree, Vanessa. Yeah, it's been toxic a long time, 7 years, but I got 3 offers this week. There you go. That weren't better money. That's okay. Sometimes if you're going to get the same or even less money, if it's a better environment, that's something to be thought of. Now, that's why we want to practice minimalism, because the less you own, the more options you have, even if you want to take a little bit less. Let's continue. So I want to stick to the evil I know to pay the bills for now. Well, yeah, build up your savings account, then pay down your debt, and then you have more options. Vanessa, I quit when I was angry. I've made decisions in anger sometimes too, so I can understand human. I was on high and full of pride. Well, see, just by sharing that, you're very humble. Then I realized that was dumb without a new job. And this is what I want to tell you. If you're a parent, don't tell your child they made a dumb decision. If you're a friend, don't tell your friend they made a dumb decision. Now, don't lie to them, but just let them share and then let them figure it out themselves. And if they ask for advice, share it, but share it very gently. When someone makes a mistake, they know, and they don't need you to pound it into their chest. Listen to them, be silent, don't lie to them, but just like let it be. They will process that information, and that will work out in the long run. Good job. I'm very proud of you. And she goes, hopefully we can talk about things and be better now. We're never talked about our issues. Yes, and just remember, there's always going to be issues with people you work with, so just treat it as a profession. You may not be you're paid to show up and to deal with people. So deal with them and just do your thing, be pleasant, and move on, and you'll figure out life. Good job. Alice, yes, I answered that. I do still work remote. Let's call IT. Alice, the more you have, the more you have to take care of. Well, I totally learned that. I agree. Vanessa, I live in my car and I can't have my car taken. I agree. Your car is your shelter and your transportation. So one is, I think a car, I think for me, it's more valuable than a house because your house can't drive you to your job. Now that's changing with this coronavirus where you can work from home a lot more. So, that's where there's a counterbalance now. And that's why I don't think a lot of people will be living in their car, because now with rent forbearance or mortgage forbearance and for more people working from home, the home has value. But for me as a nomad and for where I'm at in life, a car can serve as a shelter and transportation. You can't DoorDash with your house. You can't Instacart with your apartment. You can't DoorDash with your house. You can't Instacart with your apartment. But you can with your car, and you can also live in your car. Now, it's a primitive life. You don't have, but I'm just giving an extreme example of minimalism and something to think about. And then she goes, I live in my car. I can't have it taken away. I work in pest control and make good money. Only have to see my boss in the morning. Oh, there you go. That's a great point. If you only have to deal with your boss 10% of the day, don't throw out 90% of the day while you're by yourself. Always do an assessment. An assessment is an evaluation of, is it worth it? So if you only have to spend 10% of your day with your boss, that is not the best relationship, but 90% of the day by yourself, the assessment is it still works. And you can still make it work. Let's continue. And then she goes, only have to see my boss in the morning. Mondays, he really likes to go crazy. I quit Monday. It's understandable. He comes in on a Monday after all the stress of the weekend, working on his house, dealing with his family. And so it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. He comes in on Monday because he's overwhelmed from not living a minimalistic life. He has high stress. He projects that on you. You got your own issues, and then there's friction. Okay. But if both people were living a minimalistic life and had less stress, there would be less friction. So, good job. John Suttles, good to see you, brother. Be safe. Keep pushing forward. I love you, and I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your family, John. And you'll get through this. You're a smart, sensitive, loving man. You and your family will get through this. I believe in you. Everything's going to be okay, one day at a time. Happy Mother's Day to your family. Supreme. Hey, Supreme. Hi, I'm new to this channel. Welcome. Great to have you. Is this similar to Van City channel? No, I don't think so. I don't watch much of him, but not in my opinion. Got here from his channel. Okay, well, welcome. You always go live? Yes. Every day I go live around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Sundays, it'll be a members-only chat. You click the blue join button if you like. And every day I upload a video, usually in the morning. Supreme, I just started my own channel. Okay. Well, love to you, man, and best of luck to you. Keep uploading, stay consistent, do the best you can. YouTube is a long, slow grind, but, it's a side hustle. Luke, good advice, Sam. Thank you, brother, and best of luck to you. Carol, great to see you. I've seen you out there on some other channels today. She says, welcome to Supreme. Supreme, thanks, Carol. Vanessa, I think Wawa Coffee con leche is so good. I know you don't like Wawa. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, I don't like Wawa. When I do drink Wawa coffee, I get the Colombian coffee. Starbucks is still my favorite coffee, but some of the parts I'm at now, they don't have a Starbucks, and I used to go to Starbucks every day because I would sit in there and use their power plugs and bathroom and the air conditioning, and I would just eat there and work. Now I'm kind of like working out of my car, so I'm just going through the drive-thru at McDonald's. Doesn't make sense. But Wawa has been a blessing for a place to park, because 24/7 for a period of the day. Obviously to get gas, they do have free Wi-Fi that you can get from outside the parking lot. All right, guys. This live feed is in the books. I want to thank everyone for joining. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for clicking the thumbs up. Vanessa, thank you for the tip. Alice, thank you for the tip. Tennis on Lock, thank you for the tip. Savat, welcome to the live membership. Tomorrow will be our first members only live chat. Everyone have a peaceful night. Do the best you can. And remember, less is more. Peace and love.